things going on right now on the planet. The other night I had a dream, and I shared it on Facebook, of a very prophetic dream, and I didn't realize how prophetic it was at the time until I shared it, and then people brought me confirmation that this was actually going down. And like Yoda, I tune in and feel the disturbances in the force. And that night I dreamt that there was like this end of times dream, and there was a lot of destruction. There was a great eruption that happened on the planet. And I remember in the dream very vividly, as it was so detailed, like a movie. And I remember walking and saying, we're in Montana, like we're somewhere in Montana. And when I woke up, I posted the dream, and I remember just, there was like this symbolic energy of eruption and destruction. And then after that, there was these creatures that came out from the depths of the planet. It was very sci-fi, kind of like these, like if we had dinosaurs were hiding out at the core of the earth. And when the eruption happened, they started to surface. And in the dream, I observed how they only would take down and attack misaligned humans, like the humans that were really living out of alignment, and they were being destructive, and they were being hurtful and vengeful, and they were not having any reverence or honor or respect for themselves or anyone around them. And these were the ones that I saw in the dream get just gobbled up by this creature. And I felt it was a symbol of whether you're the creature that's consuming yourself with your own misalignment, or whether there's life situations that are coming in to gobble you up and energetically kind of spit you out because you're not coming into that alignment. I feel like it's very important that we start to listen. Amnon and I have been doing these shows for a year now, and if you think about it, and you really look back over the past year, our consistent message has been about alignment, living with integrity, living authentically, coming from the heart. And so we've been here as messengers for about a year expressing this to humanity. And some of you are really listening, and you're really doing that work, and you're seeing great change and transformation. And maybe some of you have, kind of dabbled in it, and you've come in. I kind of joke and say, when I see hummingbirds feeding at my kitchen window, and they come in and take a little sip, and then they take off again, and then they take a little sip and they take off, and they're always going. And I feel symbolically that is the insanity of humanity, is also that energy where we want to constantly get a distraction, or just give me a little sip of that spiritual truth, Tanya. Okay, back to my bars, back to my clubs, back to getting high with my friends, or whatever it is. And energetically, it takes a toll. And I was talking with one of my soul sisters today after my bridal shower, and she's really in a tough place right now. And she was just like, Tanya, I just really need to shift some stuff, and I feel like I'm holding my breath. And I could feel her vibrationally. I was like, it's like you took a plunge underwater, and you're holding your breath, just hoping something's going to change. But the only one who's going to change it is yourself. And once you realize that, you either deny the fact that you have the power, and so you drown yourself, and you do choose to do it to yourself. So some people consciously choose to drown and to go down, and others will realize suddenly when they're desperate for that breath, what the hell am I doing? I need to get out of here. And they pop to the surface. Big moment, big Little Mermaid moment, taking that deep breath out of the water, and then they float on their backs and they surrender. And for some souls, it's like they need to go through this ass kicking before they actually surrender, and they let spirit lift them and carry them where they need to be. And so today, that's really what we're going to focus on, is the insanity of humanity is exactly that energy where we ignore and deny our own power. We ignore our own authenticity. We silence ourselves. So the client I referred to that was calling me, that was really in grief and tension and heaviness, it was a lot to do with her not expressing herself. So in the dream I had, there's this eruption with the earth, and that is symbolic of there's all this energy building in the earth's center, in the core, and there needs to be a release. So the way I referenced this with her was, imagine in Hawaii, when there is a bubbling of lava, it's like this gentle bubbling and oozing of lava. This gentle release creates new land. It creates life. it creates newness, and it's gentle, and it's persistent and consistent. And then there's the opposite, where it's like, Mount St. Helens, we have that sudden boom eruption is going to happen, and a huge top of a mountain is thrown miles away, and for thousands of miles there's ash, and people can't see, and the forests have poisoning, and a lot of death and destruction happens from that kind of a release. And so we see that on the planetary level. And in the dream, that's what I visualized, had in my dream, which that night, when I posted it the next day, a friend of mine said that night they had actually had an earthquake in Montana, which is not very typical. And over the past week, they've had 2 earthquakes there. And so vibrationally, I was picking up on the energy going on in that part of the world. But it's also such a symbol for me today, seeing from the eyes of awareness of how the planet is very much reflecting this building of pressure, and it's mirroring to us the same thing that we're doing. And so I feel like what we need to get is that each of us needs to find a way to gently release our truth, to have a way to safely express it. Whether you come and talk to a healer like myself and you let your emotions out and you give yourself permission to feel, and you have someone there coaching you and mentoring you to help you heal it and learn the lesson from it and then clear it and release it from your vibration, that's one aspect. Or maybe you have a beloved or a best friend you can talk to. You need to speak to someone and you need to let it out. And I feel like a lot of humans that have struggled with suicide and feeling depression in essence is that living inauthentically. We're not being authentic. We're not speaking our truth. We're holding in our truth. We're swallowing back the truth, and it's painful. And I feel for myself in like 2012, when I had decided to leave a marriage of 20 years, and this was no subtle choice. It was a big deal. It was like this time came for me where it became too painful for me to swallow my truth, to hold back truth. It became too painful to hold my blossoming back, and I had to submit to it. I had to surrender, and I had to trust that the universe was going to take care of me and take care of all the details, and it's worked out amazing. Like, I am happier in my life than I've ever been before. But I say this to each of you because sometimes when I work with clients, they see me in the now.
Okay.
Dropped us, but we're back.
I need to come back.
See what I leave off
In the here and now.
Yes. So basically, when we're not being truthful, we're not letting our truth come out. It becomes really painful, and we start to suffer, and we don't live authentically, and we maybe don't have integrity. Because if we're not being authentic, that is the first strike in integrity, is against ourselves. So if we're not living with integrity, this is pretty important to us, and it actually causes a lot of suffering. And that suffering is absolutely, it's not necessary. It's absolutely optional. But many of us feel like we have to suffer, because I feel the insanity of humanity is that suffering is normal, that it's normal to feel like we're suffering. It's normal to feel panic. It's normal to feel like we're lacking in some way, like we're not good enough in some way. That's what we consider normal. And I feel it couldn't be further from the truth. That is not normal. That has been very conditioned and very much trained to be the way we live. And it's not at all our natural state. And our natural state is actually of ease, of grace, of trust, of faith, of joy. This is our natural state. And so for some of us, as we're coming from this place where we've been so out of alignment for a long time, what will feel challenging for that soul is to actually step into that uncomfortable place, the uncomfortable place of newness. And that newness may be, wow, I'm actually being treated with honor, but I'm so used to people abusing me. So this feels really uncomfortable when this guy gives me all this nice attention. So let me sabotage this because this doesn't feel right. And then they'll sabotage that relationship and then go right back to dating, the bad boys that kick their asses and treat them shitty. And then they're like, okay, well, this is uncomfortable as well, but it's what I know. It's the uncomfortably comfortable. And I'll just hang out here because this is what I'm used to. And so for all of us on this planet, if we want to break free of the insanity that humanity has been living in for lifetimes, we have to start living with authenticity. We have to have the courage to move in a new direction. And we need to start to be authentic with our own lives. Because if we're not living authentically for ourselves, it's going to be pretty tricky to be happy and blissful for others and to be happy in our life situation. And so one of the things that I found interesting this week, connected with the whole symbolicness of the dream, was in that dream, these creatures were only taking down the misaligned people. And that was very much a metaphor in the dream. And what I realized was, this is what we're doing to ourselves. And this is what we, in a sense, people are in the sphere of the end of times, like that it's got to happen. And so they're waiting for the world just to explode itself. And then they can like be satisfied with their predictions. But it's because they're really not living in the now and feeling empowered now. So back to that quote that Spirit spoke through me, is that when we're in that insanity, we are actually denying the presence of this moment. We are denying the beauty and the power that's showing up right here because we want to chase and get to some unknown destination. And again, to abandon the peace of this present moment, forever seeking the unknown of a future moment in hopes of salvation. That to me is the essence of what many of us have been taught, that we need to chase down something, then we'll be saved. Something will save us. What I know to be true is that that is complete bullshit. And that is something we've been so preached. It's been preached to us so long that we really still are kind of waiting for someone to come save us. But what I've found to be true is that we are waiting for ourselves. I watched this film that is a total mind twist of a film, but so truthful. Like, oh my God, so much of what was going on in that film I have experienced in my own life. Connecting with angels and ascended ones, and it's called Interstellar. And if you're interested in watching it, I encourage you to. And it might be one of those films you watch a few times because it's pretty like, what? It's out of the box. But it's so amazing in how it's showing that the very ones they're waiting to save them are themselves, and that it's their own higher self. And there's this part of when people ask me about, Tanya, how do I connect with angels and how do you know what angel it is? And some people will make up, I feel stories. I can just feel it when I'm around people where I'm like that. I can feel that's a story. And it's just passed down generation after generation. And okay, because this person wrote a book about this angel, then that must be true. What I encourage people to do is to go meditate and get to know them on your own level, like tune into them vibrationally now and ask them questions. And what I have been told, when I've tuned in very deeply with Archangel Ariel, which I love, and this angel has helped me so much to get to where I'm at today. But when I was asking this angelic being, this higher consciousness, questions about the angels, what I was told and what she said to me is, I am the highest aspect of yourself. And this is what each of us needs to understand. We don't need to be calling out to some ethereal energy out there, hoping it's going to save us. What it is our own higher self becomes self-realized. We realize, our eyes open, oh my God, I'm freaking powerful. I can affect nature. I can affect, in dreams, I could actually call forth assistance and protect the planet. I could affect and help heal souls that are hurting when I align with my higher self, that aspect of my highest self. When I'm not doing that, I feel like a victim, a martyr. I feel scared. I feel insecure. I feel like I'm on a planet that's just waiting to shake me off. And I'm frightened and I feel like I have no power. And that is what a lot of humans are comfortable feeling. They've been trained to feel that. You have been very much conditioned to feel that for lifetimes. It has been very strategically done, because if we ask ourselves, why would any humans or any beings want to cause all of us to conform? Why would we want that? Why would a darker energy wish to cause souls to forget themselves and to forget their power? What do you think, Amnon? Why do you think?
Why do I think, or what do I think?
What do you think about that? Like, why do you feel there could be a darker energy, a low vibrational energy that would wish to